Hey, everybody. We are just a couple weeks away from the Craft Brewers Conference in Nashville. And if you plan to come to Nashville, and we hope to see you there, first off, but you have to mark your calendar for May 7th at Jackalope Brewing Company. We're joining with Arrive POS, Beer 30 by the Fifth Ingredient, Craft Brewing Insurance, Full Pour Media, MarketMyBrewery, Plaato, and Pro Brew Supply for an event you don't want to miss. First beer on CBP, and we're going to smash some cars. Smashing cars, what do I mean by that? We're actually going to have junk cars there where you can take a mallet to and get out all that energy that you've been waiting to. It's going to be a great time. But today, we're going to have a conversation to get you a little more pumped for May 7th. And Dan, because you are to the right of me, I'd love for everybody to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what Market My Brewery does.
Yeah, Dan Hornbrook with MarketMyBrewery. We're based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been in the industry, started working for distributors and went on to move with brewers, and now trying to bring the technology aspect into helping brewers grow their tap rooms and grow their customer base. So super pumped to obviously be a part of the CBP community, but super pumped to see everybody down at CBC in Nashville here in just a few short days. And yeah, looking forward to it.
Dan, and I can't wait. In just a few years, we're also going to be in Indianapolis, your backyard, for a CBC. I bet you're pretty pumped for that one.
We are pumped, and yeah, we're already trying to think ahead and get ahead of that game there for sure.
I'm not there yet, but I'm sure we'll talk about it soon.
Love
Paul, your turn.
Hey, my name is Paul. I come from a company called Plaato. We're based in Oslo, Norway, and we are making technology and equipment for fermentation monitoring. So really excited to be at CBC next week, where we will be having a booth and be presenting our technology as well.
No, we have actually met before, and I'm excited to see you again. But looking at Norway and the States, what would you say the biggest difference is in the craft beer worlds we exist in?
There's definitely one thing that we notice, and this is in the US, the forward leaningness is at a whole different level compared to in Europe. We do see Europe as well also going that way, but in the US it's pretty exceptional, I would say.
Well, we're excited to have you come on over, and I hope to visit Norway before too long. I mean, you're going to be one of my
definitely. Thank you,
Kyle.
Hey, hello everybody. What's going on? I'm Kyle Rheiner. I'm a certified insurance counselor. I run craftbrewinginsurance.com. I am based out of the Philadelphia suburbs, but we work in all 50 states. And for the last 10 years, it's been my duty to make brewing insurance more understandable, more predictable. And then with that, I've also built a craft beverage library, and that is the Beer Mighty Things podcast. So appreciate
decide to start your podcast in the beginning?
What's that?
Why did you decide to start your podcast?
Why did I decide to start the podcast? So I was at a Pennsylvania Brewers Guild event in Pittsburgh, realized none of the folks in the Philadelphia area had made the trip. They're guild members. There was great information. So they're paying for this information, but we didn't have a way to disseminate it and give it back to them. So I felt that they weren't getting what they paid for, or, again, they weren't getting that value. So I decided to start interviewing those in the industry who provide value, provide resources, and are daring mighty things, and we highlight them. And today I put out episode 180 with BevSource, Dan Macri, who will be at CBC. So
wow, congratulations on 180. Yeah. I'm excited to see you keep going on that one.
It ain't stopping.
Well, Bailey, I am so excited to experience Jackalope Brewing. It's going to be an amazing time. You're going to be our host. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and Jackalope.
Sure. Yeah, my name's Bailey Spaulding, and I'm the founder of Jackalope Brewing here in Nashville. So we're super excited to host y'all in like 2 weeks, and that is wild.
It is wild.
We've been here, Jackalope, we opened in 2011, and so some of y'all might have been here when CBC was here in 2018. We've actually moved since then. We were in the process of moving during that CBC, so the brewery I'm sitting in now, we were building out. So some people might have come and seen some of the equipment when it was going in. So we're super excited to have everybody kind of come check out the final product.
We're going to have a lot of people there praying for great weather. And how far are you from the convention center?
About 1.5 miles from the convention center. So pretty close.
That's not a bad walk at all. I'm, like I said, hoping for a beautiful sunny day in May.
Yes, exactly. I think
Now for our friends in Texas.
Yes, hello. I am Brock Tornga, and I've got my marketing director with me here today, Jahn, and we're with Brew Supply. We are located in Texas, but soon to take over the world, I think. We're always working towards that private jet, right? So anyway, most of what we do is malts, but hops and yeast, fittings, anything that a brewery uses from kind of A to B. We distribute pretty much throughout the nation as well for those things. Super excited to be at CBC this year. Nashville's just a great town. Last time they hosted, it was just a great event. There was a lot of people that came out, and I would just say, stop by the booth at 2345. We've also got a hospitality booth this year. We're going to be pouring beers out there as well. It's right outside of Hall A on the 3rd floor. So come by and say hello.
And for everyone listening, we're going to be putting out a list of all our CBP partners that have booths at Craft Brewers Conference. You want to make sure you visit all of them. We should make some sort of scavenger hunt out of that, but we'll have to talk about that later.
We got lots of fun things to give away.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. All right, you're going to have to help me with that one.
Okay.
Now, let's dive into some fun questions. We're on the internet right now. It's great we have the ability to do this, but let's go in a circle. What are you most excited about the Craft Brewers Conference and just seeing people in person? And Paul, you did unmute first, so I'm going to call on you.
Yeah. Well, we definitely have these sorts of events here in Norway as well, but it's the fundamental difference between stepping up at an event like this, being able to talk to people compared to doing a lot of the business over internet, which is what we have to do basically when we sell equipment to mainly the US. So being there, having half an hour talk with people, I think that is just it is extreme compared to our everyday.
And Paul, looking at your everyday, how do you balance that? Because you're working with people in completely different time zones. I mean, right now your day is about to end. Our day is just starting. Do you sleep, and how do you make that work?
Well, it's the US is not the worst time zone compared to Norway. It's only about 6 to 10 hours. So, but still, it's. I would say that as a small company, it's pretty good actually, because we can have shift 1 and shift 2 in the same day. First day 8 hours is Norway, and then we have shift 2, which is the US hours. So we can work twice as fast.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Dan, what about you? What are you pretty excited about for Nashville and just in-person events in general?
Yeah, no, it's it kind of goes back to just my love for the craft beer community total, and just getting to see my friends and old colleagues and getting to introduce new colleagues to old colleagues, and just kind of that communal thing. But as well, kind of what Paul said, being able to actually talk to people face to face, and the internet's a great thing, but there's nothing better than a personal interaction. And so yeah, probably just the personal interactions and getting to meet new friends and see old friends. So yeah, super pumped.
It's going to be a busy week.
Yeah.
Kyle or Bailey? Anyone can jump in.
Sure. I mean, I think for us, clearly getting to have so many people we haven't seen in a long time come visit us, and we're doing, I think, 4 different collaborations that'll be out for CBC, and then we're brewing 1 collaboration during CBC. So just getting to put out, have a lot of new beers for everyone to try, and getting to work with a lot of different folks.
How do you feel the Nashville brewing scene has changed since the last time you all hosted a CBC?
Great question. I mean, I think it's clearly matured a lot. We've got a decent number of new breweries, and we've all ridden out some weird times. And I think for us, we've moved into this new facility where we have a lot more brewing capacity, so we're able to do a lot more variety of different beers. Over there we were so maxed out we couldn't even brew a Pilsner in the summer because we couldn't leave anything in the tank that long. Yeah. So we're excited that that's definitely been different for us. And I mean, Nashville itself is going to be fairly unrecognizable to a lot of people. I would say we've had a lot of growth as a city. there's a lot more stuff in the. I mean, I know that the convention center's downtown, but there's still a lot more stuff there than there was 5 years ago.
Can't wait to be there.
Yeah.
Looking forward to meeting Bailey and all of y'all and seeing the new brewery. It's exciting. I always enjoy seeing the stainless everywhere. I think what really excites me about doing anything is that we create experiences. We remember the times that we spend together. Andrew, you throw great events, and having that beer with somebody is way better than connecting virtually. And the neat thing is that I do a lot of these podcasts, a lot of these virtual conversations. And I think the first time, Andrew, I met with you, like we had a couple podcasts, never met in person, and then we met in person in Denver.
We met at Green Divide at CBC in Denver in 2021.
So then we get to meet and have that conversation. It was funny though, because you're like, you feel like you know the person, even though you haven't met yet, and then you meet and you're like, I heard you were like, give me a hug. I was like, heck yeah, man, let's go. So.
Well, that's the interesting thing you point out, Kyle. Like you feel like you know the person. I definitely felt that way at the past couple of CBCs, but looking back to say 2018 CBC in Nashville, were you all talking to people across the country like we do now? Did you feel like you knew people, or were you meeting people actually for the first time and having to get to know them?
I would say definitely meeting people. I was more kind of mid-Atlantic coming out to CBC. It was like, oh, I've been talking to people from the Midwest, from the West Coast, all over, from Norway, right? So now we get to meet. So it's really neat.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I think the landscape of that we were forced into virtualness, like, so now we have this, like, now we have to like meet virtually and then expand on that. That's all new to us as a society, as past brewing or whatever. But as far as like what we're looking forward to, I guess I'd have to echo Kyle and like just sitting down and having a beer. We get lots of orders and stuff in, and we can kind of like test the temperament kind of what people are ordering, like, oh, this is getting really hot or whatever. But there's something very different about sitting down and having a beer and learning about people's brewery and learning about their ethos, and then making recommendations for their own personality that they don't even know, that like, oh, you seem like a German brewing guy, like, let's go this way or that way. And that's something very tactile that's only through these like in-person meetings. And then me personally, just like as a designer, like I like going to the breweries, and I'm a detail girl, and I'm like, ooh, look at that color. Look what they did over there. And I get people's, I get the love that they put in there. I get their jive from their little tiny pieces that they add to their brewery. I don't know.
Do you get inspiration from visiting all these places?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll like go off on a design like direction for like a couple of months, just because I walked into Jackalope Brewing and saw a particular color of purple or something, something like that. So where are you? And I'm like, oh, it all came from this. But that's my like brainworms.
Let's go down that rabbit hole for a sec, because I love going to a brewery for the first time and just picking out the little things that I hadn't seen before. Mm-hmm. So like in each of your different areas, because everybody's in a different location, is there certain trends that you're seeing a lot of breweries jump on with regard to design or aspects of the taproom experience that you're seeing pop up right now?
I don't know necessarily.
Not so much design, but definitely, in the trends of beer. I mean, it's definitely going back to the pilsners and the pale ales and kind of away from the fruited sours and stuff like that. But I just, everybody's kind of got there. That's the cool thing about, being at CBC. I mean, we talk back and forth on these email chains with these brewers all the time, and then you get to sit down with them, have a beer, and just hang out with them and stuff. But yeah, going to the brewery itself and seeing how they particularly did this, I've got every building kind of has its own problem, and how did this brewer solve that problem it was an old firehouse, so they ran this to look like this, and it's really neat to see the attitudes of the brewers and the builders and how they got to that situation.
And I think that's the point, is that they're all so different, and that, my brain personally finds a detail that is very them, and maybe they don't even like I said, like they picked a color purple or something, and I zone in on that and like go off on a thought tree. But no, I think that design wise, like everybody has their own thought process and their own feelings in it, and that's what I like about it, that it's just so diverse, and I can pull from that.
I think you'll see two different parts of the country. You'll have, hey, it's always warm in Austin, right? So there's this big outdoor beer garden, right? In Nashville might be the same. In Philadelphia might be, hey, we don't have that much because it's snowing or whatever. So you get to see how everybody does creates their beer experience differently.
How does the Great North get cozy?
Fire pit.
Yeah, I think everybody here, like Ara was saying, everyone's kind of got their own voice and own style, and that's part of a lot of the fun. Is no two tap rooms are the same,
Yeah, I think you're right, Bailey. I think it's more so about every tap room being unique versus seeing a lot of design trends regionally outside of, like you mentioned, more outdoor spaces or more coziness indoors in the Northeast, things like that.
What I do like finding though is like, you can tell when somebody was like, oh, they found that on a budget and then they embraced it and it looks awesome. Like, that sort of thing. Like they went in a direction and you're like, oh, they did that because I bet that was affordable and it looks sweet,
Now, Dan, you interact with so many different breweries. Yeah. Tell me what you got on your mind right now.
Yeah, it's super interesting. When you're speaking locally to where I'm at in Indianapolis, there's a lot of these breweries that are just really throwing, a lot of effort into bringing activities into their four walls. And one recently, I was in a small town south of Indy for an adult night out, and we went to one brewery.
I like how you called it an adult night out.
No kids, man. So we were able to do what we want to do, and we went into one brewery, and it was pretty relaxed. There wasn't a ton of people in there. It was just a chill vibe, but they didn't have any activities. Then we bounced over to another one a block down the road, and they got the axe throwing, and it was just popping in there. So it's just really interesting how people are starting to really gravitate. They want to have a beer, they want to have local, local product, but also have something that's going to fill the night with some kind of activity that you can enjoy, a little competition or something back and forth.
Maybe like a car smash, perhaps.
I've never done it, but I'm super pumped for this. Yeah.
I'm confused about how you make a competition out of a car smash. Biggest dance?
It doesn't have to be a competition. It just takes some aggression out.
Okay.
It was honestly a lot of fun. Going into it last year, I was thinking the same thing all of you are. A car smash, like, what is this? But when you put the goggles on, I think they offered a helmet, but I don't think I wore a helmet. You get the goggles on, they give you the big mallet or hammer, and you just go at it. I mean, who here has ever smashed a car before?
It's funny,
right.
actually.
No one's hands are going.
When I was a
Because
kid,
you don't really know where to start, and that's kind of the fun of it. You're going into it for the first time, and for me, that first time experience of anything, whether it's a tap room or just smashing a freaking car, is a lot of fun.
What'd you go after the windows first? I imagine.
I hit the side mirror and I got it to fall off, so I was pretty pumped.
They promised us they'll take all the glass out first. So
well, actually, Dan's going to be throwing axes at all the windows, and that's how we're going to get the glass out.
Perfect.
So Dan, great. Excited for that one. So let's talk, Bailey. Planning for CBC. You're a brewery. You're super close to the convention center. Like, what's on your mind, and what are you doing to get ready for 10,000 of your best friends to come visit?
Crying in a corner. No, we're good. We've been having regular CBC planning meetings here for probably over a year now. Just trying to figure out our plan, and again, figuring out the collaborations and the events, and also clearly people from the brewery want to have time to get to go to seminars and to the trade show, and trying to just balance everyone's time, get all the extra staff that we're going to need for the tap room that week. Of course, the weekend, it starts, there's 3 Taylor Swift shows and a home soccer game as well. And we're about 3/4 of a mile from the soccer stadium. So that'll be Saturday. So it's just going to be really, really nuts. It gets pretty rowdy around here for when soccer games happen. So we're just kind of expecting that for like 5 days in a row, I guess. And we've got, I think.
Wait, what day is the soccer day? Let me make some notes.
Soccer day is Saturday, the day like when everybody's coming in. So I think there are a decent amount of people going to the soccer game, and we're very close. A lot of people will come have some beers and then head over there. And yeah, Taylor Swift for 3 days. And
so you're going to have Taylor Swift
town.
people in your tap room. You're going to have soccer people, and you're going to have beer people. It sounds like an amazing time.
I can't wait for, it's like when we're smashing a car in front of the brewery and just, people who are just, regular customers come and are going to be like, what the hell's happening?
Why are they so angry?
Regular Sunday at Jackalope,
Well, good luck in the final stretch of getting ready. And Bailey, you mentioned, planning like a year out. You started these conversations on CBC getting ready nearly over a year ago.
We did. And, just the trying to create our layout of what it would look like here as far as, even just like we have food trucks that come and again, these collaborations take a long time to kind of put together because we truly do want them to be collaborative. So, we did one with the folks from Mad Tree 5 years ago called Phone a Friend, and we decided to do it again.
Love it.
We love them, and so and it's like all the major players are back together. Brees did the grain for it. Crosby Hops and Hop Revolution did the hops for it. And so we changed the recipe a little bit. We kind of modernized it for where we're at now. It's a pale, but like where we're at now with brewing pale ales. But it was awesome. Last time we didn't have the capacity, so we went up to Cincinnati to brew it. And this time we invited them down here to brew it. And, we're all 5 years older, so we didn't close down a karaoke bar at 3 a.m, but we had a really good time.
What song did you sing that night on karaoke?
There was definitely some Genesis involved.
Ooh, I like it. I feel like people either love Genesis and Phil Collins or absolutely not. Do we have any absolutely not in the room?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
No, for everybody else, Kyle, how do you prepare for a CBC?
Book a flight, man. Show up. I think about who's going to be there, who I haven't met yet. I look at the, what events or, what are specific things I want to learn. And then also, right, so I'm speaking on that Monday afternoon. So, I'm preparing to make my presentation as interactive as possible, much like we had at in Norfolk for your event, Andrew. And, get people out of their seats, give them a little, collaboration there. Share ideas. My goal would be to have everybody, walk away with some new skills, some new nugget that they learned. And but yeah, kind of sometimes it's shutting down my email and sitting on the couch with a notepad and going, all right, what do I want to do? What do I want to learn? Who do I want to talk to?
No, Kyle, I had no idea you were speaking, so I'm very excited for that. When are you speaking? I mean, and what are you speaking on and what time?
Monday at 3:45, I'm hosting a panel, and it is going to be, I'm not hosting a panel. I'm giving a presentation on, kind of preparing for the unexpected. A lot of my clients, I want to make sure that, these things are going to happen, be it an intoxicated patron, dogfight, lost batch of beer, product recall, something like that. I want them talking about these things in their monthly meetings every 2 weeks or whatever it is, so that when that happens, when that occurrence happens, it's not the first time they're talking about it, right? So just preparing, being aware, and helping them to create plans. So that's what I'm going to bring to the table, some tangible things you can take back and implement right away.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to learn from you as always. Now, like Paul and Ara and Brock and Dan, you all have booths at CBC. Paul, let's hear from you first, because you're coming from overseas. Like, how in the world do you plan to bring a team over for this event? When did you start planning? What's going through your mind right now to get ready?
We've had our evolution of events. One of our first events we joined was Brew in Germany. And we were actually able to book a slot only days before. And the Germans, they were absolutely so mad at us for not planning this out. And we showed up, and I remember asking one of the guys there, hey, do you have some tape? And he's like, what are you asking? Why are you asking me this right now? Why haven't you prepared? This is outrageous. And like, okay, I'll not ask you any questions again. So we've definitely learned what we have to fix in advance, what we can fix locally, like in Minneapolis last year and Nashville this year, and what we're allowed to bring. So it is really, we're filling the hours of today, but this is so much fun for everyone involved.
One thing you said is what you're not allowed to bring. Was there a problem last time?
Well, we definitely want to bring a lot of beer back. That's always a problem entering Norway. I think we have a limit of, is it 1 gallon, which is the threshold. I know, it is. So this have to be planned out really well.
So you don't have like an incident, I know a lot of Miller High Life was just shipped over to like Germany and it got stuck along the way. You know, we don't want to see that happen to you.
No. Exactly. Yeah.
I think Paul needs. That's where we get the cowboy boots and he fills them up with beer.
Yeah.
Somehow seal them. Yeah. They might not know.
It's kind of like
1 extra gallon just right there.
Paul, if you need some tape, you just come right on over to our booth. I packed at least 3 rolls, at least.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. I'll keep that in mind.
I know for us, so last year was my very first CBC. I had probably been with Pro Brew Supply a month or 2. And I remember talking to you, Andrew, and I was pumped like when I saw you, but like the overall was just like, what is happening?
You were pouring beer when I first met you.
Yeah. Like it was just so intense for me that like I came home and I immediately like made a spreadsheet of like things that we can improve. And like I made a group spreadsheet and it's just like 17 things that I could do better. I was like trying to get everyone like, hey, what else can we do or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it started like the day we got back, right? Because I would forget it if I didn't, start making notes now.
And this is in our 4th year now, and we have this year we're doing a 20 by 40 space. It's a large space, and we have built mostly Stubby, but Stubby and I have hand built our booth out of wood, cutting it, staining it. The first year we weren't allowed any. You were asking what you weren't allowed. You weren't allowed any power tools or anything like that. So we pretty much had to make it like a snap together kind of booth. It's typical for a 20 by 30 area made out of wood, in a warehouse that you got back here. But every year it's strengthened a little bit. It's changed a little bit. We've had some storage here and there. And I mean, just the sheer size of CBC alone is just a marvel. Whenever you walk into the exposition floor and everything is just perfect and pristine, and it's like the night before that, it does not look like that. It's chaos, and the amount of cratage and the forklifts and the entire team that put that together to make that look for the 3-day show. It's just mind blowing. It really is.
20 minutes after the show, like I walk back in, everybody's out and like everything's exploded. And I think that was the most like, I was like, oh my goodness, like what's happening?
Are looking at your list of 17 items, and congrats for only having 17 things you wanted to work on. Like,
there's a lot more than
that. You're excited to do a little bit differently this time.
Oh, what am I excited to do differently? You just, again, back to the little details that I notice and like feel, like I was making like lists. So we have the pouring booth in the hospitality and we're in the hospitality station and we, sorry, I got off my brain. So the hospitality booth.
How to do it better.
Yeah, just how to do it better. I had like lists of beers that everybody donated. A lot of Texas beers, some Arkansas beers. We've got some of the same players this year. But just how I could make those lists easier to see, easier to view, easier to interact with. This year, I've got visuals on what AEB yeast that they're using. I kind of like last year I was like, ooh, I'll save paper, save the trees, and stack 3 or 4 like things together. We're not doing that this year. It was very hard for people to read and understand. Everybody's got their own sheets, their own shout out, like just little things like that that I didn't want to forget, and that I knew that if I didn't write down the day we got back, that it would be gone.
I've got my little black book on in my pocket the entire time, my phone notes. I'm gonna have a list a mile long of things I need to do, and just comments from the event.
Yeah.
Can I ask Andrew a question here? You're planning, you did it. I got involved, but how do you plan a happy hour with 400 plus people at the welcome reception? Like,
Well,
do you
honestly, Bailey's probably going to be doing the bulk of the work on that one. So I greatly appreciate Bailey and the team at Jackalope first off. And, to kind of go back to the first CBC I went to, I got in the industry in 2017, and I didn't get to go to a CBC the first couple of years. So the first one I went to was in Denver when we had the first one after San Antonio was canceled. And I honestly had no idea what to expect. At that point in time, CBP was just a virtual community. So we put together a happy hour that year at Jagged Mountain Craft Brewery. And honestly, I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know if, I'd get 50 people to show up or I'd get 400 people to show up. And this was still kind of during the heart of the pandemic. And it literally was shoulder to shoulder, almost uncomfortably for 3 hours all night long. And it was amazing. But we try to keep our events pretty simple because, we want to bring a place our community can come together. I think that's what it's all about. You all just talk about the importance of relationships. So we're excited to buy you a beer, have you all in one spot. So just like Kyle, when we met, there's people we've met from the internet. We feel like we know. We actually get to spend time together because there's something special about that. So I kind of deflected your question a little bit and gave a little bit more of the reasoning, but the true work really is on, Bailey and her team. I mean, I don't know if they want to call it work, but they're the one doing the logistics. Arrive's a huge partner in helping make sure the car smash goes well because they've done that before. It's just bringing everybody together. Everybody has their unique role, whether it's making sure the car smash goes well, making sure the drinks are being poured, making sure the event is properly marketed. So it's a team effort for this. And I appreciate all of you for being part of it. To get all sappy for a second there.
Well, we appreciate you, Andrew. Absolutely, man.
Brock, I can't wait to see you and your mustache in a few weeks.
We'll definitely be there, man.
Well, Dan, to kind of go back to you, though, talk about your planning. How many CBCs have you done so far? And, what do you do to get ready for this one?
Yeah, this will be our third. It was definitely an experience the first time in Denver. BrewLogix has multiple platforms, and we tried to shove them all inside one booth, right, and realized that the conversation is just really hard to have for all three of those platforms. So we definitely got more focused and more concise on what we were trying to do. And last year we did that, and it turned out great. And we're kind of just, repeating what we did last year, but kind of making it more open. I don't know if you remember, Andrew, we had Adirondack chairs, we had a s'more maker, we had everything in our booth to have a good experience. And, we had some people make some s'mores, but we're getting more simpler than that because I think we find a lot of value just interacting with people versus people just coming and seeing our little booth. Like, bring people over, let's have great conversations. And it's just gotten much more simpler over the years. And then obviously to do a great partnership party with you is another thing that we've added to the list this year. And couldn't be more excited about it.
Well, I will throw out that we did have a party together last year as well. And there was karaoke there, although it was not planned. It ended up being awesome. And it was full band karaoke.
It was super, super cool. And I don't know if we can ever repeat that again. Live band karaoke is a whole nother level. And if I ever see it, on an event in my area, I'm going no matter what. I don't sing, and I'm going. I
felt like everybody on stage that night was a rock star. Maybe it was the beer, but everybody sounded good.
Even me, I sounded good, and that's rare. That's rare.
No, one thing all of you have mentioned is just how busy CBC is. And when we all get together at Jackalope, there's going to be a lot of people there. We're all going to be drinking beers. It's probably going to be pretty loud. And unfortunately, that's probably not where the most meaningful conversations are going to happen. It's going to be great to see all of you and spend time with you. But I know for my sake, if I want to have time with someone, I have to plan ahead. For you all and, for those in the brewing side of things, what advice do you give for planning your schedule for CBC? Bailey, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's a great question. I think you're right. I think if there are people that you definitely want to have a quality conversation with, plan that out separately from any of the big events that you're going to, because it gets wild and there's so many people who you're not necessarily expecting to see, but see. And I think that's part of a lot of the fun of it. But if you really do want to have a, quality, we have some folks coming to town that we've kind of reserved time with. And again, for these collaborations, we've been like, okay, we're all going to get together and cheers that this happened at this time on this day. And just kind of, scheduling that. I think also just, Yeah, I don't know. For us, it's such a monster because we're trying to get as much of our staff as possible to the actual show and conference, and so that has been a real pickle for us. But
I love hearing that you want to get so much of your team to the event, because I felt, specifically in Denver, I felt like so many of my friends in the industry who work at Denver breweries and own Denver breweries, they were glued to their breweries the entire time.
Right. I mean, we have a lot of people on staff who have never been to a CBC before, and so really prioritizing them has been a big piece of it for us, because I've probably been to 6 or 7 of them now, and I really enjoy it, but I know the drill, and I feel like it's more important and inspirational for people who have never been there before to kind of see both the seminars and on the trade show, just like this world of things that are of possibilities. So we're trying to keep it as low of a production week as possible. We are brewing a collaboration on one of the days, and we've got some demos happening here and everything, but we're trying to keep the production schedule as low key as possible that week.
It is so inspirational. Like I came back from last year's CBC like a firecracker. Like
yeah, totally.
How do I do it?
We also have on Thursday, we have like one of those chair masseuse people coming in, and everyone can book 15 minutes. Since it's going to be such a crazy week, so we're trying to take care of everybody after it's over too.
Love it.
I think a strategy is simplify, or pick those couple things that you want to do and get them done early, because you might go to an event that maybe you didn't plan on, or maybe the event you did plan on and it's so much fun you don't want to leave it, and then you're like, all right, well, now I got to scrap a couple things, right? So that happens. So simplify. What do you really want to do?
The expert use of Google Calendars is what we are using right now, and I won't even lie. Like I've got sometimes I have the same event like on the group calendar and on my calendar, and then a subsidiary note in a calendar, like, but it's my brainchild.
Now, Paul, for you, because you're coming to the States from Norway, you talk to all your breweries that you interact with virtually. How are you making time to see all of them in person?
So, we have a few acquaintances we've got. Like when you're out with the same people, maybe like 2 nights in a row, and you get into this massive party on day 1, and then you just continue the day 2. That's a special bond. So I'm trying to tell some of my the people are like, oh, we need to keep those magic moments as well. We can't only be smart to go from place to place. Mm-hmm. So keeping like some flexibility to have some fun and just enjoy. I think that's important as well. Yeah. So back to you, Kyle, what you said is like just really those most important things you have to do, just do it early and book some time, and then be a bit flexible.
Yeah, we're excited. We actually have a couple of your monitors that just got here.
Yeah. That's that was one of the learnings from last year. What you mentioned, we had at least 17 things on the list as well, and then one of these things was to have demos locally. So really looking forward to come by.
Yeah.
Where can someone experience the product locally this year?
What were we saying, Andrew?
Where can someone experience and see a demo locally in Nashville?
Well, that will be at Bailey's.
We got a couple of them. Yeah, we're setting them up now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dan, any tips for preparing for a CBC?
Any tips for who?
Any tips for anyone going to a CBC to best prepare?
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint. That's for sure.
Hydrate.
There's plenty of water around the trade show floor. So yeah, hydrate or dihydrate, right? That's the saying. And enjoy the time with the people, meet people, and make friends, and don't be afraid to walk up to someone and just introduce yourself, because I guarantee they're probably looking for someone to talk to as well. Some of these people, they have thin teams, so they might be only 1 or 2 of them, and they're trying to divide and conquer. So I'm always open for a conversation. So if you're, just trying to meet somebody and, come up, say hi. And, I do the same thing to anybody there. Don't be afraid to just reach out. Yeah.
So at CBC and the trade show, as we've all mentioned, it's such an impressive operation. And every single vendor in the trade show, you all included, except Bailey, of course, probably has some sort of swag they're trying to hand you. And you're going to walk away with a ton of swag. Now, not necessarily your individual swag, but of all the CBCs you've been to over the years, do you have any memorable swag items that you'd like to give a shout out to, or that you've been really impressed by? I mean, we've all seen the koozies, we've all seen the coasters, we've all seen the openers. Has there been anything that's truly impressed you that you've walked away with from an event like CBC?
Yeah. And then I made sure we got some.
What is it?
Well, we got some really good bags to put your stuff in, like quality bags, not like flimsy. That's good. We do have some hop grinders. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
I remember those hop grinders.
Yeah, only in demand product there, I believe.
Only for hops, for sure. And then I think we have some, what are they, whiskey? They put whiskey in.
It's a hip flask.
Perhaps.
Yeah, got everybody's vices covered. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like Brendan is always like, that was really cool. Can we get some of those? I'm like, I'm on it.
You know what? The brewers have liked the best out of all of our swag I've ever had is clipboards.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I got hats, I got stuff, I got this, I got some clipboards. Ooh, clipboards. Yeah, you're like, oh, man, all right. They all love the clipboards, man. I can't ever have enough.
Super interesting. I have not heard of that one before or thought about it, but it makes sense.
Thank you. That was my brainchild.
It absolutely was.
I take it a logo clipboard or some kind of branding on it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw it on their fermenter, and
We do value clipboards very highly. Yeah.
We'll bring you one, Bailey.
Let's say this year we are trying a strategy. We're going to do limited edition drops every day. So each day of CBC we'll have I think 50 or 100. I can't remember what we got, but some really high end items versus like just throwing out a really bunch of small kind of tchotchke stuff. We want to give some people some really nice swag this year.
Can you give us any teasers?
That's a really good idea. Let me just write that down.
It's nothing that anybody said, but we got some really high quality shirts, and I'm going to leave shirts as the most basic thing. Let's just say that I don't have any hop grinders. That's a pretty good idea. I'm probably writing that one down. But nothing. No, yeah, we'll see. We'll have some social media campaigns around it and stuff like that. So
can't wait to see. Bailey, as a brewery owner, what items do you get excited about that you see on the tables?
Oh man, yeah. Again, clipboards would be super high on the list. I think. You mean as far as swag or things?
Swag.
Okay. I remember the very first CBC I ever went to. Somebody had a little wooden train whistle, and I held on to that one for a while. That was a lot of fun. And I think clearly all the different beer stations are always really fun. Yeah, I mean, I think the koozies are always really great because, I mean, who doesn't need another koozie? And if, all the things, and we always look forward to the malted milk balls at Breeze. We're always addicted to them.
Paul, how about you? What are your favorite swag items you've seen?
I've been thinking about this so much. I've been really trying to figure out the perfect swag that we could provide to customers. And I have a few. I was thinking, we have to be stainless steel. It have to be made of stainless steel. That's the material it's going to be made of, and it have to have some sort of function. It have to do something. So they were like, aha. And it have to be innovative, but unfortunately it stopped there because I haven't come up with what it actually is. But I'm sure it exists.
We'll have to keep brainstorming sometime.
Yeah.
Kyle, how about you? You're always on the move. You're going to be roaming the floor. What have you seen that's impressed you?
It's hard to say. Obviously, I think to Paul's point is that everything should be functional, like something that you can take home and use immediately. And the the openers and the koozies and stuff like that. So I've been asking the brewery clients I work with, go, hey, what do you need? What can you use every day? So, one thing, it's not something I would bring to CBC, but, custom branded buckets for the fermenters, right? And the clipboard goes along with that, but stuff that's functional. Things that I've seen that were super useful. Honestly, I ended up with so much stuff in Denver. I had to leave some in my hotel room, because I couldn't fit it in my luggage to bring home. So, I don't know, bags with straps on it or something like that you can carry around and use. But I don't know, a lot of the stuff seems just not just CBC, but like any event you go to, you kind of get the same stuff. I was at a golf outing yesterday. I got a new glassware. I'm like, my wife's going to kill me if I bring this home. Like, I don't need more glassware. So, I don't know. I can't say that there's anything specific that really stood out to me over the years.
But I think functional is definitely
cell phone battery one time. It was great.
I was saying
that thing too. Somebody gave me, and it was like so functional for the show, even, because you're on your cell phone most of the day, and you had this extra cell phone battery you could plug into.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome little swag idea.
Dan, is that one of your high end?
That is not on our list. We're not doing that one. No, that's a great idea though, because I feel like everybody's phones are dying, whether it's the bad reception that's draining them things or what. But obviously it worked.
A good one, because you all remembered it. So I'm excited to see what we see on the floor this year. Now, we'll be done with CBC in a month. I mean, a little less than a month. So you're almost there. You've made it to the final stretch. I can't wait to see everybody, May 7th at Jackalope and the rest of the week. But looking back, when you fly back, you drive home, it's a few days after CBC. For you all, what does success look like from the event? Like we've talked a little bit about your goals, but what do you want to be saying that you've achieved after the fact? And Dan, because we started with you, we get to end with you.
Yeah, it's, from an overall standpoint, our goal is to get, new members signed up within MarketMyBrewery, but that's doesn't mean, if you didn't reach your goal, that doesn't mean it wasn't a success. So it's finding, partners, it's, getting brand awareness, it's all those different things that kind of add up and accumulate to that. And, some of the successes you don't even see till months down the road. So it's really, we're looking back right now, like what did we do really well, that might have hit, 6 months past CBC. So nothing is one thing, but just trying to add them all up to make sure it's, all worth the investment to go out there and send your team out there. And, that's it. Hard to identify one thing.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to have a great CBC. Paul,
Yeah.
What's success look like for you?
I heard someone mention it here today as well, but like coming back and being just full, like being so much alive and really feeling on the vibe, meeting customers, hopefully getting new customers and meeting in the industry is just, I think this is really what's about. And everything else in terms of sales is just like a bonus, I would say.
Having that face-to-face time is definitely important.
Yeah.
And that energy. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Kyle.
Cool. Meeting new people that I continue to stay in touch with, right? Creating long-lasting relationships. Getting some good sound bites for the podcast, recording some in-person quick small batch podcasts, which I've been doing that are, beers made with 4 ingredients typically. So 4-question podcasts with brewery owners or product makers, that sort of thing. And becoming the trusted insurance advisor for Jackalope Brewing.
Nice.
Bailey, don't feel obligated to respond.
Sorry.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think for us, clearly, it's like hopefully everybody's still standing, and I think a big piece of the success is just getting a lot of people to come see the tap room and try a bunch of Jackalope beer and getting I think making those meaningful connections. And the few days after you're exhausted, but hopefully you're net energized by it all. And I think that's a piece we're really excited about here.
Absolutely. And Ara and Brock.
I think we have such a unique community, the beer industry as a whole, and just having that presence, in a different area, in a different thing. It's I hate to say it, but it's very much kind of an earned industry. You kind of have to be around for a little bit. Anybody can take part of it, but just kind of getting in there and having that face, and then that special time that you have when you can sit down and have a beer, with somebody that you've been working with for a long time, and just like it's like this community, where everybody's here for each other in this thing, and I think that's just the sweetest thing about walking away from CBC going like, yeah, that was good. I mean, you were talking about the party or whatever, and I mean, like there's one time in my mind that sticks out was a CBC party. It was just a time in my life as a ball, and it was in my community with all of my folks around me, and it's just a wonderful thing to have.
I feel like we should almost just end on that. That was just so nice. All right, anything you'd like to add?
No, I mean, he covered it like that. That got it.
Yeah.
How can I back that up?
Right, Kyle, there's your soundbite there. Just take it from Brock. Well, everybody, it's been great to talk with you 5 to 6. We got 6 in the room today. It's been great to talk with all of you. It's going to be even better to see you face to face on May 7th at Jackalope Brewing. Everybody listening, I hope you can join us there. Put it on your CBC calendars. It's been an awesome event we've done the past few years. It's going to be even bigger and more awesome this time. We can't wait to see you there. I appreciate you all. So Dan, Paul, Kyle, Bailey, Ara, and Brock, this has been a pleasure, and I'll see you face to face in just a few days. So everybody, safe travel, and see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you all soon. Thank
See
you.
ya. See ya.